Welcome back to Coffee with Kerri-Lynn. I'm trying to ignore the wind in the far north of Maine up along the Canadian border. We're going to be hunkering down soon because we get the Polar Vortex coming to the crown of Maine. I hope everybody is having a beautiful day wherever you might be. I hope you're having a day filled with fabulosity and dang good coffee. Make sure you got extra coffee on your shelf if you are on the East Coast, if you are going to be experiencing any part of this vortex that is going to be stuck over the East Coast for a undetermined period of time. They don't really know how cold it's going to get. All that they are saying is that it is going to get below normal temperatures within the next week or so. We have new people to the far north of Maine. We have a lot of people that moved in. Whether you're new to the far north of Maine a couple years or you're new to the far north of Maine, this is your first winter. Last year, we experienced what we call a green winter. It was a very summer-like winter up here, and it was delightful. We all loved it. We hated the fact we couldn't go snowshoeing, cross-country skiing or snowmobiling, but we actually all did enjoy the warmer weather. What normally happens, that did not happen last year. What normally happens is in February, right around my birthday, we experience a week of cold, and that cold is temperatures that hover between minus 35 to minus 60 degrees for an entire week in February. And we did not get that last year. So if you moved to the county and last year was your first winter here, surprise, that's not a typical winter that we have here in the crown of Maine. This winter started off a little shaky as well, but now we're told that a polar vortex is going to hover over the East Coast. I'm not sure what type of temperatures that we're going to be looking at, but I'm assuming that it's going to be what we normally would get in February for that week stretch. We're going to be anywhere between minus 30 and minus 45 degrees is what I'm assessing by the way that I'm hearing different meteorologists and weather persons present the happening that's going to happen. So what to do? Are you ready? Are you ready, Maine? What to do when the polar vortex hits, before the polar vortex hits. If you have to travel back and forth to work during the icy cold temperatures, remember, your car is not used to those temperatures. Cars do not like those temperatures. You have belts, you have hoses in your engine compartment. And if they are older belts and hoses, chances are under those conditions, you're going to be snapping a belt or springing a leak. You have a battery in your vehicle, and chances are that it does not like the cold, and your car might not start. Even if it's garaged, it's going to be that cold. So you need to take precautions with your vehicle. A lot of times, tires don't like that type of cold either. So during that weather, we generally watch the tow trucks drive up and down, jump starting people and towing cars away because a hose let go, a belt snapped, tires went flat. Those normal, typical things that happen under the frigid conditions of minus 30, 35, minus 40 degrees. The other thing that you need to do, especially if you're new to the area, when you travel, if you have to travel in those conditions, back and forth to work, you need to remember to pack provisions. You need to have a hot thermos of a beverage of your choosing that you like in your vehicle that will keep your body warm if something does happen while you're driving in your vehicle and you hear dunk, 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 and you got to pull off onto the side of the road because you blew a tire or a belt went flying and you heard a big boop and then the car's not running and so you got to coast over into the breakdown lane. You need to have warm beverage with you. You need to make sure you have water bottles in your car. You need to make sure that you have Candy bars of some kind in your vehicle, even if you are on a no sugar added lifestyle. Simple candy bar does a lot with the calories in case you're stuck on the side of the road for a period of time. You're still getting calories into your body. You're not, you shiver your calories out, just so that you know. So if gets cold enough in your car and you start shivering, you're burning calories. So you need to be able to replace those calories very, very quickly. And a couple candy bars will do. Granola bars, just get them in your car. Every time you leave the house, you should pack a small lunch. Even if it's, I'm just going to go out for a gallon of milk. Because that 3-minute trip out for a gallon of milk can turn into 2 hours if something fails on your vehicle. Vehicles are mechanical. They're not reliable. There are massive failures in this type of weather with vehicles. I can't stress this enough because inevitably, I always hear a story after the cold snap on how somebody was unprepared in their vehicle and it took 3 hours for the police to get there and the tow truck to get there, and then they were shivering and they needed a heating blanket and there was hypothermia, and I don't want to hear it no more, so I'm telling you what to do. Keep blankets in your vehicle. Just throw them in the back seat. They're fine. It might clutter up the car for a week or two, but that's okay. Make sure you have some nice, warm, heavy blankets in your vehicle. And don't say, I'm just running out for a gallon of milk. I'm going to run up to the Freshies, got myself a gallon of milk. Make sure you are geared up. You need your hats, your gloves, your scarves. You need your winter jacket. You need your snow boots on. You need your wool socks on. And you need your Carhartt pants on before you go anywhere. And I know a lot of people that don't like driving with all that on. So it's got to at least be in the vehicle so that you can stay warm in case you have a prolonged vacation on the side of the road because your car failed in the frigid temperatures. There will be a lot less people traveling in the Crown of Maine under those conditions. Therefore, you may not get help as fast as you think you're going to get it on a busy road. You will have more police out. We'll have more state troopers out. We'll have more sheriffs out. We'll have more local police out. We'll have tow trucks. In that type of weather, we just watch the tow trucks go back and forth. If you get stuck in the Caribou Presque Isle area, call Mark's Towing. Mark is always available. Call Bolliers. They're always available. And they're great. They're great people to do business with. But they cruise the roads because you never know if somebody is stuck on the side of the road in those temperatures. They never know their conditions the condition of your human body when they roll up on you to find out what is wrong. They need to get you off the roadways as quickly as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, if you are new to the area and say you have some livestock, you're just kind of it's your first year with them, maybe your second year with them, possibly your third year with them, make sure that you have straw. It is very important that you have enough of the bedding that will insulate and retain the animal's body heat, because in these temperatures, if your barns are not insulated enough, if your animals do not have enough insulated material to nest in, they will freeze to death in an unheated barn. So you're going to want to make sure that you have enough straw to get through at least a week of extreme temperatures. You're going to want to make sure that you have enough hay, enough feed, because you don't want to be running out getting stuff under those really cold conditions. Like I said, you go to the store for a gallon of milk, or you go to the store for your livestock needs something. Anything can happen to your vehicle that you don't want happening under those extreme conditions, because the vehicles are going to work harder under those very, very low temperatures. What we do in our small barn is I have my straw and my hay. We have it piled up, the bales piled up the walls. That adds a layer of insulation. We also extra bed our livestock with straw. Straw is an insulator, and it keeps your livestock very, very warm. We also put packing blankets, like wallpaper. We put that on our barn walls during these extremely bitter temperatures. It's just something that we do. We happen to have a business that needs a lot of packing blankets. So we utilize them when we're not using them for the business, and we like to make our barn as warm as possible for our animals. Now, as far as my bunnies, everybody's going to say, what about your bunnies? My bunnies are already in the house, ladies and gentlemen. They came inside at the end of October. We moved them from the barn to their room in the house. We have an extra room. I'm a crybaby, and I want my bunnies inside during the cold weather. It's just, they're like cats. My rabbits actually do roam the house free, but they're like cats, and they're intelligent, and you can play fetch with them like dogs, and they're just social creatures, and they're just so fun to have around. So they hop most of the day. In my space, we do a lot of free hopping, a lot of cleanup, but a lot of free hopping. Our rabbits are litter box trained, but every once in a while, they miss. Unlike cats. When cats miss, there's something wrong with the cat. When a rabbit misses, it's just because they miss. And so while our rabbits are, say that 10 times fast, our rabbits are litter box trained. Sometimes you got a little bit extra to clean up after you've had the rabbits hopping all over the house for the day. But that's how I prefer it on my little farm. It is going to be a very big deal with livestock. You are going to have to make sure that your animals are well hydrated, which means in these temperatures, if you don't have a heated barn, you are out there probably every half hour to 45 minutes changing water bowls that have frozen out. So that is extremely important to bear in mind. And every time you go out to your barn, make sure that you are completely geared up so that you do not catch frostbite. Because in temperatures where you're going to get frostbite in 3 minutes of exposure, it's not fun. The other thing, if you are brand new to the county and it's just your first, second, or third year here and you're running wood stoves or pellet stoves, make sure that you have your wood completely ready to go. Do all your chopping, extra chopping of your wood that you have to do, your extra splitting now, because you're not going to want to be out there in the frigid temperatures doing that chore. Also, make sure the wood is as close to your entryway as possible, because you are not going to want to be running across the dooryard in minus 45 degree weather, grabbing armfuls of wood to bring them inside to keep warm. The more your door opens, the faster your house cools, the harder your wood stoves work, the harder your furnaces work if you're on oil, the harder your pellet stoves work, the harder your heat pumps work in that type of cold. But if you've got wood to bring in, make sure you've got as much of it as humanly possible that can be contained in your home there, so that you can just continually feed your wood stoves and make sure that when you go out to get it, it's right where you can grab it, so that you're not spending any extra unnecessary time in the cold, because the machines that keep you warm do work much harder, and they break during those really, really cold temperatures. Food, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, we're going to be at it again. Yes, I'm going to say it. Your pantry should already be stocked if you're a subscriber to my channel. You know how I feel about it. We've been talking about it for 2 years now. You know how I feel about stocking your pantry. Everybody needs a fully stocked pantry. If you do not have a fully stocked pantry for whatever reason, this would be the week to buy your groceries before the polar vortex hovers over us. This would be the week to buy extra. It's going to be important that you make as few trips as possible to the store, so that you're not running your car, which is all mechanical, and something happens to that car under those extreme weather conditions. The more you can stay home and inside your home during that bitter, bone-chilling weather, the safer you're going to be. So that's the name of the game here. It's going to be staying safe during the polar vortex. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, get ready, because they're saying it's going to happen. So we here on the homestead, we're pretty ready for it, and we're ready to take an entire week off of our travel jobs and just kind of sit home, relax, and do what we have to do here on my little farm. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful creatures of the world, be the kindness that you want to see in the world. Don't be cold like the polar vortex. Have a lot of compassion, have a lot of sympathy, and have a lot of empathy for those around you. Carpe Diem, because no one promised you a tomorrow.